If you were a repetitive dip buyer, right, and you were good at pattern recognition, you might look at, the NASDAQ 3 standard deviation move, VIX up 25%. This is where things have been constructive, at least in the last 6 months to a year.
No question about it. And of course, the fundamentals supporting that has been awesome improvement in earnings. And we're going to get the second quarter soon, and the numbers will be really good.
So are you buying?
So it's not that simple. We had a long period, in fact, 6 straight years where earnings went up and PEs went up. Now we have earnings up and PEs are struggling. Reasons: modestly higher rates, modestly higher inflation, and a long list of things, including most especially all the trade nonsense. If we didn't have the strong earnings, Carl, my guess is the market would be flirting with its 25-32 correction low. But thankfully, we're not there because the earnings are so strong.
You called it trade nonsense, Bob, but yesterday's session, something different happened than other trade-related sell-offs. The FANG stocks got involved. Netflix was down 6.5% on the day. The Russell 2000 index of small caps, domestically exposed, was seen as a safe haven in the trade storm, fell almost 2%. What did that action tell you, and does it spell anything more ominous as these tensions don't seem to stop escalating around the world?
Yeah, if the tensions keep escalating, and we'll get into that in a second, you're right. There won't be many things that are standing up strong. I think the fact that those two areas held up so well said that's where investors were hiding. The question is that the right place to hide? My view is in portfolios, you want to have a lot of your earnings coming from the U.S., which does take you to smaller cap, and away from a lot of the multinationals. Look, nobody wins in the short run in a trade war. No one. There may be a relative winner and a relative loser, but everybody loses absolutely. And we've got the tariffs. We've got threats of more tariffs. Are we going to get export controls? Are we going to get other trade restrictions? That's what the market's worried about. If we stopped right here, it's small relative to the U.S. economy and the global economy, but every day or every week there seems to be, I'll use the phrase again, more noise that unfortunately has teeth associated with it.
Bob, GE is a huge story today. You know this company well. What do you make of the announcement they've made, and what's been your stance on the stock since it's had such a rough year?
Yeah, finally, I think this, so we've been short the stock for 18, 24 months. Covered a little bit a couple months ago, and we're going to use this excuse to cover the rest of it. I think the story from here is very complicated, requires a lot of analysis, but at least they're taking the bull by the horns and trying to do something after, I would argue, years of deterioration.
Well, it's been good to be short the stock. You don't think this could conceivably, Bob, be a turning point for the company? Sort of finally getting its house in order and kind of getting itself on a path that may end up, in a better place?
Certainly could. We're going to move to the sidelines and watch. I think being short no longer probably makes sense, but I haven't done enough work in this complicated set of directions now to be able to say it's appropriate to be long. But hopefully they have stemmed the tide of the deterioration. I would agree with that.
Hey there, thanks for checking out CNBC on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all of the day's biggest stories. You can also click on any of the videos around me to watch the latest from CNBC. Thanks for watching.